I was in the other room. Joe and I were in the other room, and I just saw her leaving with the police. I'm like, what's going on? I went and ran to the door. I go, no, 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 arrest me. Because she never, it was just like, what?
But unbeknownst to everyone, God was in the midst of this, and this was happening for a reason. So
Did they handcuff you?
they handcuffed me. It's a little
I
uncomfortable.
missed that part.
If you've never been handcuffed, look, handcuffed, you're sitting in the back of the police
I've been
car.
handcuffed. I've been handcuffed, but I wish I could have seen that.
I'm talking to our audience.
Welcome to the upgrade. It's only up from here. I am Joseph Adevai, also known as Pastor Joe here at Grace Church of North Brunswick. We are in studio. We have a special guest here. But before we get to her, I just want to introduce our production team. That would be Joseph M. Adevai, and that would be Stephen B. George. I call him Super Bowl George. But today we have a special guest, and that is this lovely lady across from me. She is my wife. She is the women's pastor at Grace Church, also known as Alicia Adevai.
Hang on.
Hi. Tell everybody about yourself.
All right, a little bit about myself. I'll start when I was little. I was born the middle child of 3 children to my mother and father, who lived in Belleville, New Jersey. And as a young child, there was a lot of dysfunction in my household. I wasn't aware of it because I was just a little one, but my father was an alcoholic and quite abusive. And my mother was young. She had me when she was 20. And so by the time she was 23, she had 3 little ones. And she was living with a man who was very dysfunctional and just trying to put food on the table. And I remember oftentimes there would be police outside of our door. We lived in a 2-family home, and he'd be saying, "Sir, you need to open the door. I have your wife out here, and she wants to get in the house and see the children." So that's a little bit of what I remember as a little person. And then eventually, by the time I was maybe 5 or 6, my mother did leave my father, and we went off to a 1-bedroom apartment. So me and my mother, my brother and sister lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, and we just struggled financially until she met my stepfather, whom she married when I was about 10 or 11 years old. And my stepfather was not a good man. He was abusive, and he had his own emotional problems, and he was very abusive, not just to me, but to my brother and my younger sister. And we had a lot of issues in the house. And by the time I was 17, my mother had discovered that he had indeed been sexually abusing me since I was maybe 11 years old. And finally...
How'd she find out?
She found out because my younger sister started talking about my stepfather coming into our room, and he's touching me, and why is he doing this? And my mother had looked at me and said, "Well, has this ever happened to you?" And I was just one of those quiet, introverted kids.
Really?
That
You?
kept everything in. And you couldn't pull anything out of me because I just withdrew and went inward. So by the time I was 17, and I did say, yes, this has been going on since I was 11, my mother, in an outrage, pulled all of us out of the house and took me and my sister actually to a woman's shelter in Elizabeth. And we stayed there for a couple nights. And then she took my sister and myself down to Texas, where she had a brother who lived there. And he said, "Come down here and stay with us." My older brother was in a relationship with someone, so he never really did come down to Texas with us. And we went down to Texas. And at that point, he had come down, my stepfather, and was trying to tell my mother that nothing really happened. He was sorry, but not that sorry, because nothing really happened. And my sister and I at that point ran away and found ourselves in a shelter in Texas. in a juvenile shelter. And we were there for about a week until we left. We left with some random strange guy. And maybe after about a week, I did contact my mother again. And we actually came back up to New Jersey. And I finished out my senior year of high school with a friend. I stayed at a friend's house around the corner, and my sister stayed elsewhere. My brother was with a woman he was in a relationship with. And so these were all my formative years, just highly
Some people listening
traumatic.
are going to be wondering, why doesn't somebody that's being abused say something? And some people will, blame a woman, or when somebody in a power position abuses them, and why don't they come forward? And, the reason is because they don't know what it's like to be in that kind of situation. And there's a lot of fear. What will happen? Will they believe me? And even though your mother believed you and these things happen, he was still there.
He was still there. She was too weak to really extricate herself from the relationship and leave him. And I was too afraid. I had been paralyzed with fear for all those years as a young girl.
Well, it sounds like maybe it's something that runs in the family. I mean, but I don't want to disparage your mom because she's a great lady. And there were times after I got to know you and, after we were together and married, that she did take some action, but it was just very difficult for her. And I don't want to judge her. I don't want people to judge her. You know what? Because if you're not in the situation, you don't know what you would do. Because I was in the same sort of situation. Okay. So you went to high school, you got out of high school.
I finally graduated high school, and then I went off to Rutgers College, and I lived on campus, and I loved being at Rutgers. I met a great group of people, and we were sort of a family for the next 4 years at college. And then as soon as I graduated, I found myself with a great job in New York City, and I was commuting back and forth from the New Brunswick train station.
Yeah, then the greatest upgrade of your life happened.
And when I was 25, going back and forth commuting, I noticed a really handsome guy on the platform, and I said, maybe I'll thrill him and have a date with him.
I don't believe that that's what
And that wasn't Dad. That was actually somebody else.
I was waiting for somebody to throw that in. Production assistants aren't allowed to talk. Yes.
So here I am on the train platform, and you caught my eye, and I was like, oh, okay. But many, many, many months had gone by before I actually even saw you again.
And you were thinking about me all the time.
No, not really. I was living my life. And then one day, the train doors opened, and you got on, and I just sort of...
Wait a minute. Tell the truth.
What?
You followed me.
Well, the train doors opened. You got on initially, and I'm right behind you. And as
behind me.
As you are walking down the aisles looking for a seat, I remember you sat in one of those seats where the two rows faced each other, because back in the day, there was always guys on the train with the briefcases playing cards, and they had to face each other. And so these chairs were positioned that way, and you sat down in one of those seats. And I thought to myself in a moment, wouldn't that be funny if I sat down right across from you? And thinking it and doing it instantly, I was like, I can't believe I just did this. I'm mortified.
What an upgrade that was for her.
Good job, Mom.
Look at the benefits of that.
And I
one
sat
little
down
move
right across from you, and I said, hi. And then you said, hi. What did you say? That corny line.
Do I know you from
Oh,
somewhere?
my gosh. So you and I both know we didn't know each other from anywhere except from this train platform. So we just got to talking.
Yeah, but I had known that you were going to be the girl I was going to marry for months, but I never met you or talked to you, but I knew it.
Yeah.
It's another story for another podcast.
Yeah. And so by the time we got to the Newark train station, you had taken my number and you had gotten off because you were going downtown to work. And I continued uptown to Penn Station. And within, I don't know, a day or two, you called me and we planned for a date.
Called you from a phone booth.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids.
Yeah, no cell phones
Back then, we couldn't, text them. We had to pick up the phone, put a dime in.
Yep. God
We
forbid
didn't
you don't
have a
have a dime.
landline at home. Put a dime in a phone booth.
Was it a dime or a quarter? Who knows? But you know what? We met up. We had a date, and then we just started dating.
Yep.
And you know what? It was
You
actually
fell in love.
It was fun. We were enjoying one another, and you were playing football, and I was going to your games. I never really watched you play football, but I was there chatting with the girls
That was good.
on the stand, and you were good. Little spaghetti moves out there. Yeah, with your quarterback moves. And so we were dating about 7-8 months. And we were having our own set of issues.
We were disagreeing about certain subjects.
Yes, we were. Because you had just met your brother, and he was starting to share God and the things of God with you. And I remember we went out on a date to dinner one night, and you started saying, "Do you believe in God?" And I'm like, well, I mean, who doesn't believe in God? Everyone believes in God. And you were like, well, how can you know about a God that you don't know anything about? And I was like, I don't want to have this conversation because I just don't want to get too deep because I want to keep it surface because I don't know anything about God. And we were starting to argue because you were starting to say that this was right and that was wrong. And
What? What did I say was right?
you said abortion was wrong. And I had 2 abortions up to that moment.
Which I didn't know.
Which you didn't know. And I had to live with myself. So I had to justify what I had done. So I didn't live in condemnation every minute of the day. And so I didn't want to have these conversations. They were too heavy, too deep. I wanted to keep things light because I didn't know anything about God. And I just, in my own mind, I just wanted to have fun. And I guess having fun didn't involve God, even though I didn't know anything about God. So we would have these conversations and then...
Conversations is a light way to put it.
Yes. Little arguments.
Arguments.
Yeah. And then
I was very passionate about stuff.
Yeah, you were. And
you were much more easygoing.
Yeah.
I was like...
Well, I didn't really have any convictions. I had no convictions.
And I was just starting to have convictions, and I was not very good at handling these because I was just a very
loud.
Yeah,
person.
loud and aggressive about how I believed, and everybody better believe this. And,
yeah.
Well, I've learned
yeah.
over the years that doesn't work. But anyway, go ahead.
So we were actually dating, and that one Friday night, I don't know what we were discussing, but somehow it came up that not only was I dating you, but I was dating another guy that I was working with. And that's because on many occasions, you would go out on a Friday night and binge all weekend with your friends on drugs.
I was all
and
over the
stumble
place,
in on a Sunday night. And I was like, well, I'm not a drug girl.
You were my nurse.
Yeah. And sometimes it was just annoying. It was wearying. I was like, what am I doing with this guy? He's doing drugs. He's stumbling around. And so I was dating the other guy. And then you found out and you were like, how could you do that to me? And I go, oh, someone's dictating morality to me. I go, how is that even possible? So we had a huge fight. And that was Friday night into Saturday, all day Saturday. You were hanging out with me in my apartment. And by Sunday morning, I had promised my aunt that I was going to come to her house because she kept inviting me to her house. She was always talking about Jesus. And I never wanted to go to her house because I didn't want to have that Jesus conversation because I don't know anything about Jesus. And I just found the whole thing to be annoying. And I didn't want to go and I didn't want to go. But on this one Sunday morning, I said, you know what? I can't cancel on her. And I don't know why I felt like I couldn't cancel. I've canceled on her so many times. I just can't make it. Bye, click. But this one Sunday morning, I was like, I have to go. I promised her I was going. So I went to my aunt and uncle's house, and they had 2 little kids. And I was there all day. And I don't remember too much more than I just wasn't in a good headspace. And I was just like, this relationship is probably over between you and I. We have no foundation. And I mean, I didn't think too deeply on it, but just thinking this really wasn't going to work. And by the time it was evening, my aunt said, could you read the kids a bedtime story before you go? And I started reading this Jesus book. And finally, after a moment or two of reading this, I go, what am I reading? Who is this Moses Jesus? I have no idea what I'm reading right now. I have no idea what's going on. And my aunt and uncle stopped, and they just started explaining, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
You can read the whole Bible?
And they just went on from there. And I never heard anything like this. And my aunt and uncle said to me that if you were the only person in the whole world, Jesus would have come and went to the cross for you. That's how much he loved you. And I remember I just started crying. And I was like, wow, I know who I am. I'm not this lovable, and I'm not worthy of someone dying for me, loving me like this. And I just remember crying, and I said, all right, whatever I have to do. I don't know what do you want me to do? And she said, we're just going to, it was actually my uncle. He said, we're going to pray and receive Jesus right now. I said, okay. And I just bowed my head and I received Jesus into my heart. And I was just forever changed in that moment. And I remember leaving that house. It was late. It was probably after 11 o'clock at night. And I drove home feeling so weird, like I was high or something. And
you were free.
I was free. I had never really done drugs. I'd smoked once or twice. I didn't like it. I tried coke once. I didn't like it.
You did?
What? Yeah, I didn't like it.
When did you do that?
Your son's here.
He's just finding out about this now.
One time, just one time with a group of friends, and I remember going, ugh, I don't like
Obviously,
any
she
of this.
didn't like it.
Yeah. Thank God I didn't like any of these things.
What else did you try, Mother?
And full disclosure, thank God I didn't like it. And so, but I remember feeling like I was high or something. And I got home, and I remember calling you from my landline.
I was like, who is this? I didn't even recognize her voice.
I know. I just said, I just did the craziest thing. I don't even really know what I did, but I prayed to receive Jesus into my heart. And I feel so different right now.
And what did I say?
You were like, oh, well, I've been praying for you. And I go, oh my gosh.
I don't think I had prayed for you, but yeah.
I was like, you're a drug addict. You're not praying for anybody than just to get drugs for yourself.
I was a drug addict that was meeting God.
Yes, because your brother was really talking to you and you were listening.
And I was investigating. I was looking at archaeology and history and different things.
Yeah.
I really wanted to, like, is this true?
Yeah.
So then when I heard you, I was like, who is that? I didn't even, Alicia?
Yeah. I was.
You were totally different.
Totally different. I remember when I went to bed that night, woke up the next day, I felt like a whole different person. And I remember one of the first things I stopped doing in my new walk was I stopped cursing. I had a terrible truck driver mouth. F&F.
Wasn't that bad?
To me, it was really bad. And
I heard a guy the other day, man. This guy was. That's another story for another day.
But yeah, I immediately stopped cursing. And my aunt, every single day that week, she'd called me. She goes, remember, now you're going to church on Sunday. You're going to church on Sunday. And I'm like, okay. So Friday night, I think you went out with my brother. You were going to take him.
It was somewhere along there,
right? To Staten Island to introduce him to your friends. And I go, oh, this cannot end well. And you didn't even stumble in until sometime early Sunday morning, like.
It was a couple days. It was like Thursday to Saturday night or something.
But you stumbled in, and
we ended up in a penthouse somewhere with people we barely knew, and I remember him looking at me like, my life is over. And I go, I'm not going back because she's there, and she is gonna kill me. Like she's the law now. She's a Christian. She's like turned her life around, and I'm still stuck in this web of
deceit,
craziness.
Yeah.
It wasn't deceit. It was just
debauchery.
Yeah, that. Pretty much that. So we did come back at some point.
So you did come back, and remember, you passed out on my floor in my bedroom. And then I remember getting up in the morning and I was just kicking you and my brother. And I go, get up. My aunt said, we have to go to church.
Yeah.
We have to. And my brother got up and he goes, the heck with that. And he just left. He just walked out.
And I went, and that little old man gave that message.
Yeah,
and
we
I
found
got
that
saved.
little church on Livingston Ave. Just a
I
little.
mean, I got saved. I've gotten saved a lot. So, but that was a big one.
Yeah. So we did. We went to church.
That was the time you said, "You're going to church."
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Like when you told me you're taking that job. Thank God I listened. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I started to get a little better, and then you told me something the next weekend. You said
All right.
something to me.
Well, I think it was maybe a couple weeks later. We were hanging around in my living room, and I just said, now listen, I said, everything's going to be different. I said, I'm born
but
again.
it wasn't really different because I was still messing up.
Yeah.
But
But we
ahead.
had gone to another church, and remember you had, went forward or received Jesus. I think that Lincroft church, remember? Anyway, so it was weeks later, and we're just hanging out in my living room, and I said, listen, I'm not going to be, we're not the same people. I'm not going to be doing what I was doing. You're going to stop doing drugs. And I said, you know what? This is game changer. I said, you know what? I think we should get married. I think we should get married either this coming spring or wait to the fall. Which one?
Now, I was definitely I had come off of something where I was gone for a couple of days. And so I was really tired.
Yeah,
But you had a different attitude. Like you thought I was getting better, I guess.
I did.
Because I was sort of getting better. So instead of
deceit.
5 days
A lot of
away,
deceit.
it was 1.5. But I remember thinking, she said spring. I go, that's like in a month.
Well, because this was like
Or
March.
the fall. I'm like, the fall, that's further away. I go, okay, the fall.
Yeah. And I go,
What
okay.
a salesperson. She was so good at sales. She got me good.
Yeah, got you good.
So I said the fall.
You were, I was getting you ready for your upgrade. So what did we do?
It
We
was an
started
upgrade.
we
Yes,
started
it was.
planning for our November wedding.
Mhm.
And we were so excited that we decided that we were going to find our own little place together. And everyone counseled us that we shouldn't move in together until we got married. We said, no, you don't understand. We have Jesus now and we're in love and we're going to get married in 6-7 months. And so what did we do? We, against everyone's best wise judgment, we went and found an apartment
Well,
together.
most of our friends were not thinking that way.
No,
So
but
it
against
was just a
your brother,
small,
my aunt.
my brother who's out of the country or something, and your
Yeah.
aunt who's an hour away.
Yeah. So we moved in together. And after moving in about 3 weeks, you made a decision. We can't keep
Felt
doing.
guilty.
Yeah. We can't keep doing the things that we're doing. So we need to stop. And then we made a decision that we weren't going to do anything until we got married.
Abstain till marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that wasn't hard for me, but it's never hard for a woman. It's much harder for a guy. So-
Definitely much harder for a guy.
So, but we made that decision and God honored that. And I always think to this day, God honored it because when we got married, God blessed us with 6 kids, you
Mm,
know?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as hard for me in this fact that I had been so loose before we met, and it had led me to emptiness. So I was looking for the love of my life, not the sex
Lust.
object of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you were beautiful, obviously, but you had that beauty inside. That's what attracted me to you, was that beauty inside that you had. Not only did you have really beautiful eyes and just beautiful smile and loved your body, everything, the way you looked, just everything. You had that inner thing that I really was like, wow, yeah, I love her. I'm
Oh.
marrying her.
Well, you had never been with a girl that,
Well, let's not
Was
knock
following
every
Jesus.
one of my old girlfriends.
Well, no, but you never been with a girl that
They
was
might be
following
listening.
Jesus.
They were all really nice. No, it just, it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
This was definitely meant to be.
So actually, in that interim period that we were living together, I was working with a girl at Pitney Bowes. And when I told her I got born again, she was like, oh, you must come to our church in New York
Oh, yeah.
City. Remember? And we
Yeah.
went to the Church of Christ in New York City, which initially we loved it. Oh my gosh, it was 2,000 young people. We were right in the midst of like a huge Jesus party.
72nd Street.
Yep. And we just loved it every week. And then,
The Beacon Theater, I believe it was.
yeah, all the way uptown. And we did that every Sunday for months and months and months. And we joined a little home group. They had a little home group in
Edison area where we were living.
yeah, a young couple, and we would start going to their house, and we were just falling in love with Jesus, and everything was wonderful until we realized that, unbeknownst to us, this was really a cult church.
Yeah, it was a cult.
Yeah, and because we had just gotten married in November, and we were at their house. And they were telling us something, and we weren't agreeing with them.
I wasn't agreeing.
You weren't agreeing, and I was.
I was talking to my brother, who's a theologian from
Yeah.
Dallas Theological Seminary. He's got his Master of Divinity. He's
Yes.
like a professor.
So your brother's telling you this is a cult church, and this is not good. And me, I was like, I don't know any better. How do I know any better? So I was like, okay, maybe I agree with you. And they're like, well, if your husband doesn't agree, you're going to have to get divorced. And I go, divorce? I just married him last. So eventually.
Why'd you get divorced? Because of God.
So
Yeah, I don't think so.
between your brother and my aunt, we got out of that church. And
God bless them, though. They're wonderful people. It's not. It's just the thinking was wrong.
it was wrong.
There wasn't grace. It
Mhm.
wasn't that Jesus died on the cross for your sins. Put your faith and trust in that. Repent of your sins and trust Jesus, what he did. It was more like, no, you have to do more.
Yeah.
It was basically a church that said if you weren't baptized with that in mind, that you weren't a Christian. You know, we had gotten baptized, but they were like, no, you need to get baptized the way we do it.
Yeah. And you can't think that you're saved until we baptize you under
Exactly.
the water. And I was like, wow, this is a different way of thinking. And it's really wrong. So we had been there for, I don't know, close to a year. We were there
Maybe.
for a while. And then next thing you know, Alex.
Yeah, we had a daughter.
Yeah, Alex came into the world. She's our firstborn, Alexandra. And she came in January. And I remember thinking, I'm definitely going to go back to work. But the minute I had her and I held her in my arms, I remember thinking, I am never leaving this baby and going back to work.
And I guess I was finally on the trading floor and making some decent money. I was making decent money at that time. I was a trader, trading for CRT, trading options,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing well.
Mm-hmm.
I
And we
was
did.
I
We-
was on my way up the
And we-
ladder.
We bought a little house in Edison,
Mhm.
our little starter home
Yeah, where when you wake up in your bedroom, you bump your head into the
on the
ceiling,
slanted ceiling.
in the
Yes.
dormer.
Yes. And we were there. And then we had Victoria, who's our second daughter.
And we're in a church now.
And now we're in a church. And actually, when Alex was 6 weeks old, my aunt had called me and said, there's a startup church, a Bible fellowship startup church in Edison, not too far from you. Why don't you go over there? And so we got in the car. It was probably a 3-minute drive. And we went over to the Cahill's house. And they had maybe, I don't know, a dozen people in their home.
It was
And
like 10,
okay. And we,
including Pastor John and Susan Bevelak, were our good friends. that
Yes,
we
yes.
did a podcast with.
Alex was just 6 weeks old in her little infant seat.
Pastor John was playing the keys.
Yep.
Keys was like an old piano, and they were singing like hymns, and I was
It's like an old organ.
For me, it was just like, I am so out of my element right now. But we decided we're gonna do it God's way,
Yep.
and that church was 8 or 10 people, and I made we as a church made 10,000 phone calls for our first service, and I think I made about 3,000 of them.
Yep.
That's how zealous I was to do God's work.
Yeah.
And our first service, I'll know, I'm good with numbers. There was 188 people there.
Wow.
We met in that Washington school
Yep.
because we made those phone calls.
In the gym. Yep.
188 people. Now the second, third week, there was 30 or 40, but still we started with
Yep.
10 or 12 and we had 188 people at
Yeah.
that first
And
service.
we were actually in that church for close to 10 years.
Yeah, I was an usher.
Yeah.
You had your ladies' Bible study. I mean, I became an elder. I
Oh.
got to preach there.
Yeah.
When we did leave, there was 350 people there.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Mhm.
helped to grow that church. That's
Yeah.
a lot of where I learned and we learned what we're doing now. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so you got 2 kids now.
Well, now we have 2 kids, and we
It's
Fine.
1991, 92.
yeah, and now we find another house, and we found a house in North Brunswick,
Yeah.
New Jersey, and as soon
which
as,
is where I was born.
yeah,
But we didn't know. We never even thought about where that house was.
nope.
We never said, "Oh, this is where you were born, North Brunswick."
Yeah.
We just found a house and bought it,
Well, it meant nothing to me. I was
Mhm.
raised in North
and
Jersey.
I wasn't even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. And so we got into a new home. You know what they say: new house, new baby. So as soon as we got into the new house, I got pregnant with Jacqueline, and gosh, here we are.
It was a nice house because I had been doing pretty well.
Yes, it was a beautiful house, but we weren't even in it too long. And then you had lost your job. And you said, I don't know if we can stay in this house. And I remember crying. And you went to some place and you got a sign out front and said for sale. And I remember
Yeah.
looking out the window, looking at that sign, just sobbing. I was like, God, really? Like, how could you bring me to this house and now you're going to take it away? I was really sad in my heart.
I had nobody to get advice from, so I was just. And then I remember the realtor said to me, "Don't sell your house. Just hold on to that house." So I took the sign up
Yeah.
and figured out a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I went through some real tumultuous financial times,
Oh, we have been up
making
and down,
and losing
up and down that.
companies' money, millions of dollars,
Yeah.
back and forth, getting a job, losing a job, getting a job, losing a job, stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had,
And then Joey
Another-
came. Little Joey came.
we finally got the boy.
Yep, finally.
We had 3 girls and then the boy. And when we were in the hospital and I saw the boy thing, what did I do?
Oh, the whole hospital knew.
The
we had a
whole
bull.
hospital knew.
Yep,
They were like, "Are you the guy
that has a boy.
that finally had the boy?"
Yep.
So if you're listening and you're on girl 2, 3, or 4, keep going.
Keep going.
Or if you're on boy 3 or 4 and you want that girl, just keep going. Till you get it.
Inevitably, God will bless you.
Just keep going.
So then, but this is what happened. Right when Joey was born, you had lost your job.
Yes.
And now we were in really,
And I owed somebody
Dire straits.
$170,000.
yep.
It was my sort of my mentor on the trading floor. You know, I had gotten involved in a Bible study on the trading floor, and
Yeah.
a small loss turned into like
Oh
$170,000.
my gosh.
And, you know, at first he was upset. He wanted us to give him our house. I mean, it was a big mess, but this is about you.
Yeah. So anyway.
You felt that strain a little bit.
Oh, I felt it a lot. And here I am with 4 little kids. And then I remember we're at church and there was a bulletin and it said, do you want to be a host family for an exchange, an international exchange student? And I remember thinking, we have that one room downstairs off of the laundry room and it's its own side entrance
Oh, yeah.
with its bathroom. And
Let's
I said,
bring
you know
another
what?
kid in.
Maybe we should. It was like one of our first big steps of faith, right?
Oh, my gosh.
And I said, why don't we just do that? Why don't we just bring in an exchange student? We sat down, we looked at all those cute little heads, and we picked Meta. And Meta,
From Denmark.
yep,
Meta.
she came and lived with us. She was going to be here for her senior year of high school.
And I was doing construction work at the time because I had lost my job
Mhm.
on Wall Street. And I was doing construction.
And so here we have a 17-year-old international exchange student from Denmark, Meta. And initially, you know, she comes from a godless country. I had these 4 little kids, and she wasn't there to be my nanny. She wasn't there to clean the house. She
No.
wasn't there for any of these things. They made it perfectly clear. You're
She
just a
was
host
a
family.
teenager in high school.
Yeah, and you're just going to be a great influence, a great role model for her to have a great experience here for a year while she's attending high school. And I remember thinking, that's fine. I'll run her around. I'll do everything she needs me to do for her. But I do really just need her to do a couple things. Like if I ask her to vacuum or straighten up or clean up, not even watch the kids. That wasn't why she was there. But I remember she would just give me a hard time. And I was,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I
She
don't know
was
what.
in those teen
Oh.
rebellious years.
I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with this meta. And then you were taking all the kids on a winter retreat.
The youth.
The
I was the
youth.
youth leader at the church.
Yep. And you were taking all the kids away for a long 3-day winter retreat weekend. And I said to Meta, you're going. She goes, I am not going. I go, oh, you are going. And I said, I'll pack your bag right now if you don't. And so angrily, she packed her little bag. You took her and a bunch of youth off for the weekend, and she got radically saved.
Mm-hmm. It was called Snow Glow.
Yeah.
You know, that's still going on.
Is it really?
Yes.
Snow Glow. She got
So
radically
she came back
saved.
and she gave a testimony
Oh, my
at
gosh.
the church we were at then.
And the whole church cried.
Mm.
And she really had a radical conversion. And then she left. And as soon as she left, I found out I was pregnant
Oh, God.
with the twins.
Can you imagine? I'm working, I don't know how many jobs. I'm trying to keep this thing afloat. And I come home and she says she's pregnant. And she says, you know, I've been praying for one more boy so Joey could have somebody to play with or beat up or whatever it
Not
was.
just play Barbie dolls all day with his sisters.
Yeah.
Every brother needs a little brother to beat up.
Mhm.
But anyway, and you're like, one day I come and you're like, it's twins. I remember they're at the kitchen table and I went black for a minute, I think. And I went, stop. Don't mess with me. Stop it. She goes, no, it's twins. I go, stop it. I know you're messing around. There's no way. I couldn't accept it.
Yeah.
I couldn't even comprehend it's like, really? We just, our exchange student just left. We got 4 kids. I'm trying to support this. And you're going to tell me there's 2 more?
Yep.
I remember thinking this Joseph name, you know, where God adds, like, this is a little too much.
You better add some money.
Better add some money.
God was upgrading us.
I was like, oh my gosh.
So next thing you know, those twins were born in March, and Alex had just turned 7 in January. So I had all 6 of these little people in 7 years, and it was honestly a big blur. It was a big blur. I was exhausted all the time, all the time.
I watched my daughter-in-law and my daughters with their 2 little 3 kids, and they're like, so I'm like, and then they say, Mom, I don't know how you did it. Mom, I don't know how you did it. You know what? I don't know how you did it.
I don't even know
Because
how
I was
did it.
working all the time.
I don't know how
I was
did it.
getting up at 5 something, you know, getting out of the house by 6 something to get into the city. And then sometimes I wouldn't get home till 6, 7, 8. And then if I had to travel, I mean, it was just a lot.
That's right. Those twins were 3 weeks old, and you said, I'm leaving. I have to go on a business trip, and I'll be gone
Well,
for days.
I had finally gotten a job back on
Yeah.
Wall Street.
Yeah.
I had finally gotten a job and I had to keep it. I mean,
Yeah.
I was working my way back from the bottom again.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? God sustained us,
Mhm.
and He's our strength always. From whence does your help come? My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. I just clung to that verse. And you know what? We were making it through, and God was blessing and prospering us. And then one day, what happened? You came home and said, God's calling me to start our own church.
Well, yeah.
Right?
I was in 2000, July 23rd.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, no way. We're not doing this. I have enough on my plate with these 6 kids. We are not doing this.
I don't think that's how you said it.
Oh, that's the
You
nice
said
version.
you're crazy.
I'm like,
No, well, at the time, so in the mid 90s, when I got back on my feet as I was an over-the-counter broker, I was doing really well, and I decided to go back to trading for a bank, and then it was downhill from there. I lost money. I worked for a hedge fund. I lost millions after making millions. I just went through these ups and downs. And when I came home that day to say about the church, we were broke, and I didn't have a job.
yeah.
We
And
had
I
a ton
remember,
of debt.
and I said, listen, I don't know about this stupid church thing. I said, you know what? You need a job.
You
You better go get a job.
But I was so sure it was God's will that
I know.
I was so free. And
I
like,
know.
even though I was going through it, I knew that that's what I had to do. And then we prayed, and I did get the job in February. So it was like from August, July, August, September, October, November,
Yeah.
December, January,
So once you
February.
started
it was
the
like
church-
7 months.
Well, yeah. And once you started the church, it was a matter of time before God handed you that other great job, which you didn't deem as great initially.
Yes.
But
you said you're taking that job.
taking that job.
Thank God I listened to you.
Thank God. Yep.
Listen, I am the big boss. I am the king of the family, right? But you're really smart. And you said you better take
Well,
that
because that was the job we were praying for, that you wouldn't
Yes.
be trading.
It's amazing. Like you'll pray, God, 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 and he gives you something. You're like, no, I don't want that.
Yep.
I wanted something else. I wanted to go back to trading, but
No, it wasn't
deep
good
in
for-
my heart, I knew
No.
it wasn't a good idea.
wasn't
So
good for your personality.
I went to a company that helped people trade,
Mm-hmm.
and I became a senior vice president and
Mhm.
retired. But anyway, so we start the church. How long did it take from the August 27th, which was our first service? How long did it take for you to be in on it?
Oh my gosh. It actually took me a while. You know what? I was not as exhausted because the kids were a little bit older at this point, right? But
You didn't want to do it.
I didn't want to do it. It just seemed like a lot of work to me. And you know what?
It was a lot of work.
Was a lot of work. And the truth was, because I still wasn't free yet, really wasn't. I was a people person, but I wasn't. Like
Mhm.
I loved to be around people and have fun, but
Not
I
as
didn't want
much
to.
as me.
I didn't want to be around people and have to do any kind of real work, anything that took anything. And I was like, I know this is going to take something, and I don't think I have it to give it. I don't even want to give it. So I didn't like the whole idea. It took me a long time to get on board.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And so we started the church, and we're doing our thing. And
You still had your ladies' Bible study, though, every Wednesday.
yep, I always
From
did.
the old church, you were still doing it.
Yep. I had that ladies' Wednesday
Mhm.
Bible study for forever. There was always women in my home. There was always kids downstairs. Yep.
God was preparing you to pastor women,
Yeah.
and that's what you do now.
Yeah.
We're just making it, but
Just making it and
But I
building.
was a lot happier because I was preaching, which is what
Mm-hmm.
I was obviously called to do.
Yeah.
I remember one time took the kids on vacation, and we didn't have any money, so we put them in our whatever we were driving, a
Suburban.
minivan or whatever, and we drove around for like an hour, but we only went like a
Down the
couple
road.
miles down the road. I pulled up into this hotel, and I go, "Here we are, everybody." It was like a little hotel with an Applebee's next
Yep.
door.
Yep.
And the plan was to make them think that we went on a really long ride. And
Yeah.
they did. We had a hotel room. All of us slept. All 8 of us slept in the
Yeah.
one hotel room.
And then we woke up and went to, I don't know.
Great adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And they thought, I had them fooled. It was fun.
Yeah. Joey still thinks we were in Florida.
I just drove around to make them think we were going far away. I mean, you had to do stuff like that,
Mhm. Yeah.
If we would have got in the car and drove 3 minutes and pulled into some hotel on the Route 1, they would have known.
Yeah.
So anyway, one of our kids, actually, when we were in the hotel, everybody was swimming in the pool. I'm not going to say who it was. One of our kids threw up in the pool, and they had to close it down.
Well, I don't think there was anybody but us in the pool anyway. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, but those are fun times. The early church
Yep.
struggle.
Yep.
The church was a struggle because I was working all week. You were
Yep.
taking care of the kids all week.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday, I got to get a message really quick.
Yeah. It was very stressful.
Yes. And I feel like the kids suffered from not enough time with me
Yeah.
because of my work in the church. So, I'm making reparations now.
Yes, you are.
Take
Mhm.
the grandkids,
Mhm.
when they don't come back for a month, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
You should take them more.
Yeah.
More repercussions.
Yeah. More repercussions.
That's right. You're still working off. Oh.
So things are going along pretty good until we get to 2009 time.
Well, actually, back it up. We buy a house in 2006.
Yeah, we move
Yeah,
to
because
a little bigger of a house.
Yep, I just wanted something bigger with a bigger dining room so we could all actually, on these wonderful holidays, all be in the same
Yeah.
room together.
We're big on family gathering and
Yeah.
entertaining and hospitality. My God, that's all we do. So we found a house down the street
Yep, and so
in North Brunswick.
we're in a nice home, and things are going well for a while. And what happens? Your father dies.
Mhm.
And next thing you know, my stepfather,
The beginning of 2009, he dies.
he dies. He wasn't feeling good around Thanksgiving, and they discovered he had stage 4 cancer throughout his body. And within months, we were burying him.
And everybody was like,
in
oh,
January.
the wicked witch is dead and everything's great now. And I'm thinking to myself, oh no, something's going to happen. I know it,
And-
because where's all that anger going to go?
Yeah. Because while he was alive, I had a place to put all my anger.
You, your brother, your sister,
Everybody.
your mom, everybody.
And now that he's gone,
Me.
yeah. And all of a sudden, this is now about, gosh, a month or so later, on one crazy Tuesday night. It's a Tuesday or Wednesday night, right? We're just sitting around watching TV, just, I don't know, having a glass of wine, talking about stuff. And out of nowhere,
I was trying to be affectionate,
yeah. And out of nowhere, I just.
which was never your strong point.
Never.
Obviously, because of what you went through.
Yeah. And so I remember unraveling, and I just snapped.
You was mad, girl.
Yeah. I was and all of a sudden I just disconnected, like just my whole psyche just disconnected. And I remember getting really mad. And for some reason, you were going to be the person now. You were going to be Ray, and I was going to take out all my anger on you because I never had dealt with what had happened to me. All those years of being abused, I remember I'd gone to counselors after college, but they were worldly counselors, never really helped me, so I stopped going. And I never really had anyone to talk to about what I went through. So it was in me. It was always in me. It had never been dealt with, and it was just festering.
And you hear about this all the time, like people that had abuse, maybe they never dealt with, never even knew. Some people block it out.
Yep.
But it always comes out.
Yeah.
And when it does, look out.
And so that night was lookout night.
Oh, yeah.
And I just snapped, and I came down on you. And I mean,
If you don't fill in the details, I'm going to.
Go ahead. Yeah, because
you went to the knife block.
I know.
And you pulled out a knife. And you were like, sort of chased me. And man, I'm fast. And I'm really fast when somebody's got a knife. So I don't know if you were really trying to stab me, but you were just mad. So you were just like had it in your hand. And it was just, I was in between laughing and like running. Like, is this really happening?
We've heard this story a lot. What knife was it? Was it a steak knife? Was it one of the big ones?
It was one of my expensive Cutco knives.
It was one of those Cutco ones, those long, just the regular utility knife, not the butcher knife. That's your story. My whole life has been dodging knives. Anyway.
Knives Out, part 2.
But yeah, it was a regular sort of serrated edge knife.
Yeah.
Enough to scare you. That's all you need.
Well, I was unraveling. I was starting to just disconnect because I was just.
And then you ran upstairs.
Yep. Ran upstairs. I was on the balcony and I looked down and I remember this. I was like, I'm going to take you down.
Yeah. It was like something from remember the Exorcist movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to take you down.
Yeah.
And Jackie was there, our daughter. And I was like, Jackie, I need you to watch everything here because she's going to call the cops on me, right? And I think you had called the cops on me once years before that, and probably for good reason. I probably was stressed and I lost it. I never hit you or anything or whatever, but I was just yelling or something.
But I watched my mother do that my whole life. So
I said, if they come to our house and she tells them whatever she tells them, they're going to arrest me and forget it.
Yeah. And I did. I called the police.
I had a lot to lose.
Right?
You were ministry, everything.
Yeah. You were like, don't do it. And I'm like, I'm doing it. Like, I don't even know why I'm
and
doing
she
it, but
picked
I'm
up the phone.
doing it.
You were.
I lost it. I lost it at that point. I had snapped. And the police came and the whole cul-de-sac
And I gathered
was filled
Joe.
with police
I gathered my
cars.
son Joe and Jackie around me. I said, guys, you got to tell them that I didn't do anything physically, because if they think if she says I did and it seems like she's gonna, I will be arrested.
Yeah. Well, the police were like, all right, what's going on here? And I said, well,
Well,
I
they
think,
put me in the other room.
Yeah.
They say, get in there. They
Yeah.
yelled at me because I was trying to talk to them. They say, get in there and sit down. I was like,
yeah,
jeez.
because in their mind, you're the bad guy.
Yes.
You must be doing something bad.
Mhm.
So they're asking me what's going on. And I said, well, I'm just angry. And I just think I just want to kill him. Oh, that's things you should never say. But I was really unraveling. So they were like, well, what do you mean you want to kill him? Like, what does that look like? And I said, I don't know. I'm just going to stab him with a knife. They're like, what knife? And I go, probably this knife. And that was it. They're like, ma'am, you need to get dressed because it was late at night, maybe 10:30. Ma'am, you need to get dressed. And they escorted me upstairs. And I got clothes on out of my pajamas. And they're like, we need to take you down to the police station. And I remember, like, at this point, I think I'm in a fog. I'm in a daze. And they're like, we're not going to arrest you in front of your kids because the four of them were home. Alex and Victoria were not there at the time, but everyone else was there. And they're like, we don't want to handcuff you in front of your kids. So we're going to walk out the door. You're going to go to the police car, and then we're going to handcuff you. And I remember, like, at this point, I'm just in a daze. I'm just like, this is surreal.
I was in the other room. Joe and I were in the other room, and I just saw her leaving with the police. I'm like, what's going on? I went and ran to the door. I go, no, arrest me. Because it was just like, what?
Yeah.
Something really crazy is going on around here.
I know.
I was like, not her, it's me.
But unbeknownst to everyone, God was in the midst of this, and this was happening for a reason. So
Did they handcuff you?
they handcuffed me. It's a little
I
uncomfortable.
missed that part.
If you've never been handcuffed, look, handcuffed, you're sitting in the back of the police
I've been
car.
handcuffed. I've been
Yeah.
handcuffed, but I wish I could
I'm
have
talking
seen
to
that.
our audience.
I wish I could have seen that. I missed that.
So I got to the police precinct, and it's late. It's, maybe 11. And they fingerprint me, they mug shot me, and they stick me in a cell. And it's not a big precinct over there in North Brunswick, but they stick me in the cell. And I remember sitting there going, what is going on right now? I don't really even know what's going on right now. And I look over, and there's a German Shepherd in the other cell. I'm like, where am I right now? In like a dog kennel?
Jail. You're in jail.
And I just sat there, not too long, maybe an hour or two. And then you and Joey came and bailed me out. And I remember getting in the car, and I was so angry. I looked at you and I go, don't you ever talk to me again. I hate you. I can't believe you let this happen.
I remember saying to my son, I can't believe it. We're going to the precinct to get your mother. I mean, this can't even be real. I'm like, this cannot even be real. We're going to the precinct to get Alicia. I mean, this is hilarious. To get my son would be one thing,
Yeah, it's true.
To get your wife.
It's crazy.
That was kind of crazy.
So it probably was
You're like
around,
the most innocent person I've ever known.
oh my gosh.
The gentlest, nicest.
Yeah.
So funny.
So we got home. It's late. And you stayed downstairs, and I went upstairs.
Darn right I stayed downstairs. I don't think I slept.
I didn't sleep at all. I was upstairs tossing and turning, and I was just angry all night long. Angry. I was so angry.
All right, take it easy.
And I remember I woke up in the morning, and I came downstairs, and I looked at you. We were in the sunroom. I just looked at you, and I started crying.
I was like, oh, thank God.
I just
I'm going to live.
I just started crying, and I just cried and cried. I didn't stop
You're
crying.
going to make me cry right now.
I just didn't stop crying. I just
You didn't
cried
stop crying
and
for
cried.
like a month.
Yeah. I just cried and cried. And my brother, God used my brother to actually be a blessing in my life, because my brother said, you know what? I know a guy who knows a guy, and this guy is a counselor, and he counsels not just women, but people who have been abused. And he also goes into the jails, and he counsels the people who are the abusers, the perpetrators. And he goes, do you want to like me to find this guy's number, and you could actually maybe talk to him? And I reached out to this guy, and I started my counseling, and that counseling saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff for years and years and years and years that was inside of me, that was toxic and poisonous, came out of me. And this guy, God just used this older Catholic guy, this counselor, to just draw this stuff out of me and just bring healing to my heart. And that was so necessary, because at this moment, a week after that, it was a Wednesday morning, a week after I was arrested, I had been given a summons to appear in court because the state of New Jersey was going to press charges against me.
But we didn't know what the charges were until we went to the court.
And I was like, what do you mean they're going to, who's pressing charges against me? So we got our friend to represent us. Remember, Mike represented us. He met us there. And it was, you know, that crazy, that Wednesday morning, a week later, it was my birthday that morning.
When we went,
it was March 4th.
we went to the courthouse, and it just happened to be that there was like 200.
There's 5 million people there.
in the courthouse, and then we had to get in line. And when we got to her, I mean, she was really freaking out.
I thought I was gonna have a heart attack.
She's never been involved in any of this stuff. Me, I was like, yeah, I kind of used to do this. Go to court.
I thought I was just gonna literally.
And the
have a heart
judge
attack.
goes, I think, oh, he's going to dismiss the charges. He goes, no, we are charging you with domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
You like crumbled, like just.
I was like, wait, what? What's going on right now? The state of New Jersey charges me. And this is
domestic terror. And
this-
they had the knife
oh my gosh.
in a plastic bag.
Oh my, I need my knife back. But do you know, he looked at me, and this was the first glimmer of hope in all of this, because that was the most stressful week in my life, waiting for that court appearance. But he says, you're going to plead not guilty, right, Mrs. Adevai? And I went, oh, not guilty.
I went before a grand jury.
There was a grand jury investigation.
I was the big witness.
Yeah.
You know, I was weighing the scales. Now, what should I do?
Oh, my goodness.
Leading up to that grand jury, I had never seen you like that. You were so afraid,
I
so
think it
worried.
was a good, what?
Because
4
people were saying
4 to 8 weeks
you're going
out.
to do time and all
Oh
this
my
stuff.
gosh, you're gonna
I wasn't worried for a
you're
moment.
going to jail, and I was like, what? I'm going
For
to
once
jail.
in my life, I wasn't worried, and you were. It was such a backwards thing.
Oh my gosh.
I had so much confidence.
Yeah.
So I went before the grand jury, and I had them laughing. Like when I left the grand jury room, you could hear them cracking up.
Yeah.
And we knew right then. And they said, yeah, your case is going to get
Yeah.
dismissed. Because I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't afraid of her. Nobody. We're talking about Alicia. Like, I just had them laughing.
Yeah. But you know what? When I reflect back on that time, that was one of the hardest times I've ever been
Oh,
through.
yeah.
But that was God. That was God preparing a way for me to get my healing that I needed so desperately. And God loved me too much to leave me in that really bad place that I was in. And that was it. Thank God I had started going to the counseling, and it was just, I would just go and just cry for hours and hours and hours. And this guy never looked at his watch and said, time is up. I mean, after a couple hours, I'm sure he did. But I just remember going week into week, month into month, and just crying for months and months and months. And the one thing that I remember this counselor saying to me is, you are classic textbook. And I just remember going, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? And he pointed to all the books on his shelf. He had a huge library of books.
People
And
that
he
are
goes,
stuck, right?
He goes, how many people have gone through what you've gone through? Classic textbook. You're not alone. You're not the only one that has ever gone through this. So many women, so many people have just gone through this. And you know what? You're going to get through it, and you're going to come out the other side. And I remember that. And he was right. But it took hours and hours.
Meanwhile, all I used to ever talk about in church was you got to be real. If it's not revealed, you can't be healed, and all this kind of stuff. But when you're in that, you don't even know.
I didn't
You
even know
never
what
even knew.
I never even knew what that meant.
Because everybody thought you were like the happiest,
Nope.
most whatever blessed person, and nobody knew that there was something inside of it that needed to come out.
I was stuck. Like, I was the most stuck person
But
I knew.
once you did that, once you had that breakdown and breakthrough, you were totally changed. Your ministry took off with the women, and then you became we got to talk about it. We got to reveal it. I'm like, where has this been? And you like went past me. You were like zoom like a motorcycle just zipped by me, and you were like, you're the we got to tell the truth and reveal everything. And I'm like, I've been preaching this for how many years?
But it meant nothing to me because I was stuck.
No, but it meant a
Yeah.
lot to a lot of other people because you helped them.
Yeah.
You helped
Yeah.
a lot of people get free.
So when I think back on that time, that was necessary. God allowed that to happen
That was the
for me.
second big, after you got saved, that was the second big radical transformation in your life.
Yeah.
And so we're here 16 years later.
Yeah.
It's still a main part of how you minister to people, right? Like
Yeah.
for people to really talk.
Yeah.
And then some of our kids, they suffered from the same thing a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And you've helped them.
When anything comes up, I go, that's it. Let's all get in this room. We're talking about stuff. We're just gonna peel away every ugly layer and deal with this. And we're gonna cry until we get our healing.
And it's to the point now where it's like, I don't want to do it. I used to be like, we got to talk about this. Because my mother was a psychologist, and all she said is, Joey, you have to talk about it. Now I don't want to talk about it. You want to talk about everything.
No,
but
I do want to talk about it.
It has helped our marriage a lot.
Yeah. Well, along the way, I found my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It's okay to find your voice and say how you feel.
You know what? I knew you found your voice. Now, people might be wondering, what's he talking about? Well, I'm very strong-willed, obviously. I'm a real macho male, blah, blah, blah. And I used to try to talk to you and tell you and boss you around or whatever, just like, I'm the man, And then one time you got a stool.
Yeah, I got on top of the stool.
And you stood on the stool and you were taller than me. And I'm looking up to you and you're like, you can't. I found my voice.
Stop being a big bully.
Yeah. And I was like, this is funny, but it's true.
Yeah, if anybody's listening, find a big stool and get taller than the bully in the room.
Taller than me. I'm looking up. I'm like,
that's right.
That was a very good illustration. It definitely changed me.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely changed me.
But it's important that, you know what? I never had my voice. I just, it got taken from me early on in life. Fear had replaced it. And you know what? It's freeing. It's freeing to be free and find your voice and just allow God to use you in the capacity that he wants to use you. So, gosh, these latter years have been so much better than the former.
You guys got anything? Any questions you have or anything? Any comments?
Yeah, sure. You know what? I'll jump in real quick. So I gather from this conversation that both of you would be big proponents for people who need it, like good, God-centered counselors, right? But now, what would you say to people who are Bible-believing Christians who love God, who love his word and all that? Because I have been around lots of people who, I don't want to say they could use counseling, but I mean, it's clear that they have some things that they want to work through. And I think that happens to everybody. But, their mentality is, I can't go to counseling. I can't go to therapy. I don't need that. I have Jesus, right? Like Jesus is my one-stop solution for all things. But I think that you would have a different take on what God's hand can be in counseling. So what would you say to those people who kind of feel afraid to open up to another human being and they say, no, God got me. And then that stuff just becomes, resentment that builds.
Let me go first because I know we're going to have a different thought on this. My first one, because I want to just go from the spiritual side of God uses people to help. Like we ask God for help. He uses people. People are the greatest resource. And in James 5:16, it says, confess your sins, confess your situations, confess your shortcomings, confess your hurts. Basically, that's what the word means. To one another, and then you will be healed. It doesn't even say confess to God. It says confess to one another. Because the hurt, the things that you have inside that hurt, that are on your mind, that these things that need to be healed, the way to do it is to talk about it. Because once you put it out there, it doesn't have control over you anymore. Or the lies that you hear in your head when you share it with someone who loves you will say to you, that's not true. Why do you think you're ugly? Why do you think you're not smart? Why do you think you'll never be able to do this? Or why are you thinking that? Why are you down on yourself? No, you're talented. God loves you. He's got a great plan for you. So counseling, in a sense, is just relationship, and you need godly relationships. But go ahead.
Well, I know this, that I didn't think I needed to go to a counselor and talk to anybody about anything because I had found Jesus and I have Jesus and I'm good and I'm okay. Clearly, that was a wrong way of thinking because clearly I was a complete mess. And it wasn't until the rubber met the road and I was in a dire, desperate situation and it forced me to go to counseling that I understood just the healing that comes through all that talking and that confessing and that counseling. But I didn't know that going in, and that was revealed to me coming out. And then even just recently, a couple years ago, we were introduced to these wonderful counselors, and you had gone to see this deliverance counselor, and you had come back and said, "Oh my gosh, you have to go. This was an amazing experience." And even then, this is a good year or so ago, I said, no, I'm good. I've got Jesus. I went through my counseling. I found my voice. I'm good. So still somewhere inside of me, it's pride really, that said, I don't really need to do any more than what I've been doing.
Mhm.
And something happened, and I realized I still need healing. Like, I am not completely
We all do.
100% whole.
Mhm.
I need healing. And I had gone to this deliverance counselor, and for 4 hours, 4 out of the 5 hours, I just cried. I just wept. And I'm thinking, how is this still in me? Where is this all coming from? And when I look back on it, that was a year ago. That was God providing more healing from my heart. So it really, I sit here and I go like this. I go, everyone needs counseling. Everyone needs someone they can talk to. Everyone needs an opportunity to get the stuff out that's still lingering, that you don't even know is still there.
I mean, the thing is, as a pastor, and we have this huge church now, and there's some situations I go, that's higher than my pay grade.
Mhm.
Like, that's going to take intense counseling. There's situations that you need professional people that this is what they do, but they're gifted by God to do it.
Yes.
It's just like,
Yes.
I have Jesus, and my, there's a short circuit in my electricity. I don't go to the wires and hold them together and say, Jesus, help me do this. I call an electrician if it's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
So that's my answer, and
And you know
God makes counselors.
Yeah. And you know what? Would I say that not everyone needs counseling?
Yeah.
I would say that. But then I would also say this, but why not treat yourself? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, everyone doesn't need counseling, but
But boy, does it
I
really benefit
I'm
your
somebody
life.
that shares everything. I'll say anything from the pulpit. I'll tell
Yeah.
anybody anything, but that deliverance thing helped me. I mean, it was a different thing. It was, it was just talking. It was just,
Yeah.
and having somebody pray for you that doesn't know you, which is sometimes
Yeah.
really cool because, when you praying with people that it can get emotional. Things. When somebody doesn't know you, they can really just pray at that thing. They can just attack the
Yeah.
situation. So,
Yeah.
and get a Christian warrior to do that for you. It's great.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap it unless anybody has another question. We're going to wrap it. But what would be 3 things? You how are you now?
Oh, I'm so much better. Am I completely healed? Probably not, but I
just
thank
your
God
life.
every day.
Are you-
Yeah. I have
has it
peace.
been
I
an
have
upgrade?
joy. Oh, yes. Yes. Thank you, God.
So what are a couple of the keys that you would say to people that are listening as to how to upgrade your life from where you are right now?
Make sure that you have a great support system. Make sure that you have people you can talk to. A lot of times problems arise when you're isolated, alone. You've got no one to talk to. So it's so important to have a good support system. A great spouse, great family, great friends, great church. I've got the best friends on earth because you know what? They know and love Jesus, and they've been a blessing in my life. And of course, I've got the best husband in the world.
You can expound on that. No, go ahead.
And the best 6 kids. Yeah. And you know what? Just stay close to Jesus. And I know that as I stay close to him and I trust him, I have peace and I have joy. And he renews my hope day by day. And I think if you really want 3 things, I think one of the most important things to do is give grace upon grace upon grace. Not to the people just all around you, but to yourself as well. And I give myself a lot of grace. I don't beat myself up anymore. I realize that I'm just human. God loves me. He loves me in this moment as much as he could possibly ever love me. And there's nothing I could do to earn his love more than I have it right now. And it's very freeing.
You're amazing. Listen, if you're listening or watching this, you really want to upgrade your life, it starts with putting your faith and trust in Jesus Christ. He really was the Son of God. That's why they put him on a cross. But that was his plan from the beginning, to die for our sins, because we've all messed up. And the greatest upgrade we had in our lives, for sure, is the day that we trusted him as our Lord and Savior. You could do that by saying a prayer, just like, Father, I've really messed up, and I know that Jesus, your son, died for me, and I want to put my faith in him today. And then just believe it, because God raised Jesus from the dead, and he will raise you to a new life. And he has raised us to a new life. And then what he does is he fills you with his Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Jesus said, after he rose again, he told his followers, those that believed him, he said, I'm leaving, but I'm going to send the Holy Spirit to come and live inside of you. So the Holy Spirit just reminds us of who Jesus is and who God is. And this is the way you live the upgraded life. I mean, it doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. There's going to be ups and downs, but it's only up from here. And one day it'll be up all the way. Yeah. So we love you all.
Wait, I got a question before we sign out.
We got a question. Love it. Come on.
The closing
Where's
question.
this from? ChatGPT or from?
Well, all right. So, Mom, you have 6 kids, right? I got 1 brother and 4 sisters.
Yep.
I've noticed just with my friend group, and I've heard it been, talked about a lot with millennials. I just looked on chat. Chat's not always correct, so take it with a grain of salt. But it says, yes, across the developed world, millennials are having fewer children than previous generations. And I even heard something, I don't know if this is true, but Gen Z might be having more kids than millennials actually. But you had 6, and that's pretty rare. Even for your generation, that's a lot. What are your thoughts around it? Like, do you think people should have 2 if they have a boy and a girl? Stop. You think 4 is a good number? Was 6 too many and you'd stop people from having too many? Like, what's your advice on that? You had 6 kids, you came from a broken family, and yet you still decided to have a huge family.
This question's coming from someone that has 3 kids. So
Yeah. It's probably going to have 6 soon. Maybe 7.
Maybe 4. 4 sounds good.
go ahead,
Well,
man.
I know this, that and when we got married, Daddy said, he goes, we're going to start a family, right? And I go, heck no.
I want a lot of kids.
You wanted a lot of kids,
I
but
wanted a
I was
football
making
team.
money. And I was like, oh no, we're not starting a family. I'm making money. Because in my mind, I had grown up poor and I wanted money. That was the most important thing. But the moment I had Alexandra and I held her in my arms, I remember just crying, going, thank you, God, for this beautiful baby. And in that moment, God turned my heart completely around. And it wasn't even an issue. It was like, boom, 19 months later, Victoria came. Boom, 19 months later, Jacqueline came. Boom, 19 months later, you came.
Boom.
And then Meta was there, and then she left, and then the twins came. So, but you know what? I would tell everybody, just have as many as you could possibly stand, because it'll be the greatest blessing in your life.
We got
Greatest
11
blessing.
grandkids right now. It's
Just beautiful.
It's the greatest. We
It
get
is.
to see them when we
Because
want. and
life
then we
is
leave 'em.
beautiful. Life is beautiful,
It is.
and God uses lives for his glory.
The
So,
upgrade is just more people.
yeah.
God's about people. We're
Yeah.
about people.
Mm-hmm.
Go have some more kids, son.
Yeah, you could have 7. You could be the winner.
Steve will have 7.
God forbid the Lord come before that.
Remember, the upgrade starts with putting your faith and trust in Jesus Christ. We love you. Take care.
God bless.